Last time on Digital to Dice. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we get episode 214 today. What do you got for us?
Motown. Hello, Detroit. Detroit. So I got some phone calls this week.
Yeah?
Jerry Jones called this week. I got a call from a J.R. Ewing. Are you familiar with that?
No,
with
Daddy, I don't. I don't know that.
You don't know J.R. Ewing? Apparently, I've messed with Texas.
Oh, you did?
I messed with Texas. I got Dallas confused with Detroit, which I've messed with Texas. And so now I have been banned from eating barbecue for a month. And for the next month, I must say nothing but nice things about the Cowboys and all that. And
well, for the most part, they're the same football team. They really, neither one's done much in 23 years. So,
well, I'm delighted now that Carrie Batts has put away my voodoo doll and has now made yours. So I don't mess with Texas, and I'm sorry I ever did.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we're going to keep you around as long as we can until the long arm of the Dallas law comes and finds you.
Did you really compare the Cowboys and the Lions being the same football team?
Someone posted something the other day how, like, neither one's won anything since, like, 1992. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, tell me where I'm wrong.
You are.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
I'm not allowed to pick on the Cowboys for a month now.
Anyway, this is the Digital to Dice podcast. Ways to get a hold of us. DigitalToDice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Digital to Dice at yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital to dice. And if you'd like to be a Patreon to support the show as we approach, I don't know, what's this, 5 years now or something like that?
We celebrate our 5th anniversary. I want something nice this year, okay?
Yeah,
in July.
I know. But yeah, this is 215. So we have 214 episodes up for anybody to listen to, and your support helps pay the bills to keep those shows up for all time. Is basically what it does. Let's see what else we got going on here. That covers everything on that. And speaking of the Patreons, if you're a $5 Patreon member, you get to jump into our Discord, and our Discord has been jumping. And in fact, I think it was the Discord that come out with the topic for today's show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I Googled this to make sure so I don't get my area code wrong. Hello, Philadelphia.
215, nice, okay.
215 is Philly. Please send your cheesesteaks too. No shrooms. They can go to Dave. I'll take your cheesesteaks.
Nice.
So 215 is about, it's not 215, it's 1:38 in the afternoon, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So what we're going to talk about today, and actually it was kind of an interesting topic that come up because I don't know what it is. I've really, really been enjoying playing games lately. Like just a big appreciation for the games, an appreciation for the designers, an appreciation that I've managed to find some time in between work and family to play these. And I've just been having a blast. And I really haven't done any major projects, but just the idea that I can – and I've been playing the longer games. You know, the Hockey Blast, the APA Hockey, some of the baseball games. I mean, they're full play. They're not as long. But I've been playing some of the hockey games.
Talk more about that when you talk about what we're playing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I've been enjoying playing so much, and then this topic come up in Discord, and tell us what the topic is, because it kind of dovetails for what I've been doing into, like, how am I finding the time
when you're pressed for time, how do you get your gaming in when you're pressed for time? When we know some of you are parents, and some of you have other things going on, and some of you aren't quite retired, so you got to manage work and time with a spouse and your gaming time. And so we put that out there on the Facebook group and in the Discord, and we got quite a few responses, and they're varied. And so, I mean, Dave is really going through his busy season. right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's been finding a way to get him in. And so, so the topic of today is, how do you get in your gaming that you want to get in when time factors are an issue for whatever reason that they are?
Yep. So anyway, we got a lot of good responses on that, and it just played nicely. Like I say, from what my just enjoying the heck out of these games, and I finally found the time to play. And it's like, what a great topic is how did you find the time to play? So that's what we're going to get into today. We have some responses from our Discord, and we have some responses from our Facebook. So Ron will tackle that topic here. But I suppose we could get into what we're playing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go first because I already kind of teased it. Yeah, playing a lot of APA hockey and APA baseball too, because I got my seasons in. I got the 79 baseball season, and so I've kind of worked that into my 79 replay that I've been doing for a few months now. Just kind of playing a random game here and there, and I've used, 6 or 7 different game engines now on it, now that I've added APA to it.
Calico. And that's kind of cool.
And so I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the playoffs. I think what I'm going to do is I'll take one playoff series and just use that game engine, and then find another series and just use one game engine and kind of play the playoffs like that, and figure out what I want to do as I whittle down the teams, what engine I'll use.
Who are your 4 teams right now that are leading? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Obviously the Pirates. Was it the Pirates and the Reds?
Pirates and Reds in the NL, and it was the Orioles and Angels in the AL. Those were the 4 real life teams.
I think it's the Angels, but I think it's the Yankees, Orioles, and Red Sox are all kind of jammed up at the top, with the Yankees having a slight edge right now. So those are my 4 teams that I have right now. But yeah, so I picked up the 79 season and just been playing that. That's been so fun. And then the 80-81 for hockey. I did the Ron Lustell game. No, that was in Hockey Bones. The Ron Lustell game. But
you've done that since we talked about what we were playing. You've actually done a couple. You did. What was the? Was it Bones? You also did the last faceless.
No, that was APA. That was Andy Brown.
Was it?
That was 73-74. I did the last maskless goalie in the NHL, so I played him on the Bruins went into Pittsburgh and played him, and Bruins snuck out with a win in that. That was fun. And again, I'm going back and forth between APA hockey and Hockey Bones, and they're very similar games, but they do some things different, and I don't know which one I like better, because whatever one I'm playing is the one I like better. That's just kind of how it's been. But it's been fun to get back into the full play hockey games after a while.
Yeah, you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then I actually pulled out last night because I have some Hockey Bones coming in, and I just got the tracking number, so I know it's on the way. And one of the seasons I'm getting is 93-94, so I can play that Sharks Detroit Red Wings series, the ones that the Sharks upset the Red Wings. I played shootout hockey last night, and I have 93-94, so I says, let's play Sharks Red Wings. So I played just a game between the Sharks and the Red Wings. The Sharks almost won that game. They had, I want to say, 10 scoring chances to like 6 or 5 for Detroit. And the Sharks just could not score on a scoring chance. And that's the kiss of death in shootout hockey. You have to cash in on those scoring chances. And they didn't. And they should have won. If they, even just a couple of more scoring goals on those scoring chances, they would have won the game. They ended up losing by 1 goal. I think it was 4-3, Detroit won. But what a fun game it was. Again, that's, you talk about some of these medium play games, and we'll call shootout a medium play game. And, you talk about meat on the bone, and, and you balance the time it takes to play a game to, how much you get out of a game. And this is one of those games that not every time, but a lot of the times, you just feel like you played a full play game with shootout hockey. Just kind of how the game flowed and it went, and all the chances the Sharks had, and they just couldn't bury it past the goalie, Chris Osgood. And then that cost them in the end because Detroit came back and got a power play goal. They even got a shorthanded goal. It was Fedorov got a shorthanded goal.
Oh, really?
In that game. Yeah, that was pretty. This game had I had right off the bat, I had a double minor on the Sharks and a major on the Red Wings. So I had a 4-minute penalty and a 5-minute penalty. Yeah, so I was using all my referee skills to figure out, who was on the power play and who wasn't. But I never had that happen before. But that was kind of fun. So I had a little bit of everything in the shootout game last night. I was like, yep, that's why I play shootout, because it's just a fun game. Now, not every game gets that involved, with shootout.
No.
But a lot of times you come out of a game of shootout and you kind of feel like that you really felt like you've been at a full game.
If you took because the final four in the East that year, the final two in the East that year was the Devils and the Rangers. And they played that epic 7-game series with Mateau and double overtime, sending the Rangers to the finals and all that. Mm-hmm. I wondered if you would if you did that in shootout or the final. Remember, Vancouver took the Rangers to Game 7. Mm-hmm. I wonder how that would turn out. I forgot who Vancouver was. It the Maple Leafs?
I'd have to double check that. I wonder if it was the Oilers, if the Oilers were any good at that point.
No, I said they had fallen. I mean, Messier was in New York. That's why the Rangers won the Cup.
But
I remember because there was a couple of years in the early 90s where there was just some epic conference finals. The year before the Kings and the Leafs with Gretzky winning in Game 7 and that. But yeah, that's such a fun era. That's the last of those high-scoring years, and New Jersey hadn't quite come into their own yet for what they would be later in the decade. But yeah, 93-94 is a fun season.
Yeah, I have that right here right now. So Vancouver, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 4-1, and the Rangers Devils was that 4-3 series that was really good.
Right.
And to continue on with the Sharks, so the Sharks beat the Red Wings. They went on to play the Maple Leafs, and they lost in 7 games to the Maple Leafs. So the San Jose Sharks.
That was the first year in 8-1, right?
I think it might have been. Yeah, it's amazing.
I remember that series being significant, and then it happened in the NBA.
33-35. The Sharks were 33. They got 33 wins. They were the worst team to go into the playoffs that year, and I think it was only their third year, I think, in existence.
Right.
The Sharks hadn't been around that much. In fact, I think they just moved into a different division. No, they still in the Pacific. Never mind, they're still in the Pacific Division. But it's just an interesting story. There was a Smythe. That was the first year they switched from Norris Adams.
We went from the names to the generics. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's too bad because the Smythe division, that was so cool. It really was. But yeah, so congratulations to the Sharks for making some noise after winning 17 games in their first season. They ended up winning 11 games in their second season. Imagine going backwards. And then they turned it around to win 33 games.
Please renew your season tickets. Yeah, we know we went back to an 11-win team.
Imagine that. Yeah, I mean, and that's a big deal. You got an expansion team, so everybody's excited for year 1, and then you stink, and then it falls off. Then you go into year 2, and then you only win 11 games, and that's almost as bad as like the Capitals and that won 8 or 9. It's
I mean, when you just did the Lothian game, the year that Winnipeg won 9. And they were in their first year or anything. It was the second year that they were in the NHL.
Second year. They were better in the first year. Yeah, kind of crazy. But anyway, so that's what I've been playing, a bunch of hockey. Oh, and I did play some baseball, kind of offline. I played another 1986 Clemens game because I'm playing just the Clemens games in 86 in payoff pitch. And he got a win over Texas, and he had 12 strikeouts. He was mowing down the Texas Rangers in that game. So good for Clemens. He got that. And been playing some, I want to say it's been APA baseball because I've been kind of enjoying my APA seasons there. And I got I think it's a 78 Sox. I'm playing every game for the 78 Sox with APA. And I got a 5-0 lead in the 9th that we blew. I'm like thinking I could trade runs for outs and still win this game. Nope. Bases loaded, nobody out. And they scored 5, Cleveland. Scored 5 to tie it, and then we went into extras, and they beat us in extras. And Ron, I don't think I've played a baseball game in the last 3 weeks that hasn't gone to extra innings. Every single one's gone to extra innings.
I think we're just going to start you in the 10th.
Stop me in like the 7th or the 8th, and then that'd be good. And then that way there I can just get in a full game and not have to play a game and a half. But yeah, every single baseball game goes into extra innings.
Make sure that you start those baseball games when you're really tired and you want to go to bed.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes it's
to be up for an hour and a half.
Yeah, sometimes it's 10 or 11 o'clock. It's like, I'll bang out a quick game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no, it's never a quick game.
This time of day when we're taping this, you'd pull it out, you'd be done in 20 minutes, and it'd be a 9-0 laugher.
Yep. But at night, it's like, and I see it too. It's like, okay, here they come back. It's like 3-2 in the 8th, and the team ties it in the 8th. It says, we're going extras. There's no way anyone's going to score in the 9th, and we go to extras. But anyway, it's still been fun playing those things. So that's kind of what I've been playing.
All right, the 88 replay for me in baseball is hit almost mid-May, and it just came off an incredible ball game. Absolutely incredible ball game. The Pirates are kind of a surprise. It's interesting when you go back and you know what a team's future is. Of course, 88 was 35 years ago or whatever the hell it was. You know, it wasn't last week. And so going into that season, I don't think I remember much about the Pirates and their chances. But within 2 years, they won the division 3 straight years and were one Sid Bream mad dash from going to the World Series in 92. Okay. I mean, they were the team in the NL East. 88, no, it's all Mets all the time. Well, the Pirates are in first place, 30 some odd games in the season. I don't think it's going to last, but they're legitimately overplaying. And so they got the Dodgers in for a Wednesday night game at Three Rivers, and they trade the lead back and forth. I believe the Dodgers go up 3-1. We go to the seventh. The Pirates tie the game in the seventh. They go up 5-3 in the eighth. The Dodgers relievers couldn't get anybody out. And then I brought in Jim Gott, who I'm using Action PC just in case people wonder, because I do get questions about that. He wasn't listed as tired, so I went with him to close him out. He was 9 for 9 in save situations, which you know is the kiss of death when you say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, this has never happened before.
Dave Gardner has not missed a 3-foot putt in his last 475 putts. Oh, dear, he horseshoed it. I'm so sorry. And so Gott had closed out all 9 of his save chances. He's got a 2-run lead. It's a 5-3 game in the top of the ninth. He also was now pitching his 5th time in 6 games. And just in the back of your head, you're going, that's an awful lot. He's not listed as tired. The computer doesn't have him as fatigued. I'm going to go with him, but that's an awful lot, even if they were easy innings. He gets the first 2 hitters on 9 pitches. Not strikeouts, but he retires the first 2 on 9 pitches. Okay? And then all hell broke loose.
Ugh.
Home runs, Franklin Stubbs, wrong way home run. I think Kirk Gibson had a big hit, and it's 88. So every time you get Gibson on, you got to talk about the home run. And so the Dodgers put a 5 spot up. They go up 8-5. And I'm going, oh, wow, because, the 88 Dodgers were the Patriots of the 2000s and 2010s. You don't know how they got there, but it was duct tape and bubblegum. I mean, the Dodgers were a MacGyver baseball team that particular year. There's nothing about them that goes, oh, yeah, they did X, Y, and Z right. Nope, they just outlasted you. And this was one of those games. So we get to the bottom of the ninth. And it's Alejandro Pena coming in for the Dodgers, who wasn't their closer. And in the stats, it says save opportunities 2, converted saves none. Okay. Well, Gott hadn't blown one, and he is. So Pena's going to get him 1, 2, 3. Nope. Bobby Bonilla, 2-run homer, second of the day, 8-7. John Cangelosi, a name that White Sox fans will remember. Hit a single, and yep, the Pirates had the winning run at the plate when they finally got the third out. Just a crazy, crazy game. So, Cleveland and Kansas City are in first place, and I've been making the joke going through the standings that ABC had the banner, had the LCSs that year, and they've been thrilled with the Dodgers, Mets, whoever, any one of those combinations, rating city, but they would have been pooping bullets if they looked over and saw Cleveland, Kansas City, or Cleveland, Minnesota in the ALC.
Right. Yeah.
What else? I've been doing playing some golf as myself. Can't win. Last couple decade tours, I'm too good. That's been fun. Is
that ASG?
I tried playing the Masters and reset it because you have to play Augusta differently, and I forgot.
Is that ASG?
Yeah, ASC.
Okay.
ASC, you can create your own card and do that. I was doing some of that on stream last year. I probably will do that again at some point, but it is fun. That is a fun game. What else sports-wise I've been playing? I haven't bought the new Strat game yet. Someone asked me today if I was going to show that off. Probably this weekend. I will grab that and show it off. What else? That's about it, sports-wise.
Yeah. I played a fun game this week that I forgot to mention. It's discover which medicines you're allergic to. I should have taken pictures. Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I went to the doctor.
My
Finally
wife
went to
had
the
that a couple
doctor.
weeks ago when she had COVID.
Yeah, I finally went to the doctor Monday after, still can't get rid of this thing after a month. And they put me on amoxicillin. And so I come home and I took it and I'm sitting here working on the computer. And it's like, boy, my face is really burning up. It's like, and I go upstairs. My wife was home because she's sick. And she's like, oh, my gosh, you are beet red. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I go in the bathroom. Oh, no, I was beet red. My face was beet red. And I look down at my arms and in between my fingers were all red. And then as I'm talking to her, I look and the red just starts going up my arm. I felt like I was watching something from The Thing or something like that. And I did. My whole body turned red. And so she called the doctor and she's like, what's going on here? And they're like, well, he's having an allergic reaction. So get him some Benadryl right away and a Zyrtec. And if he's having trouble breathing, go to the emergency room. And so,
yeah, you got real lucky with that because that's scary.
Yeah,
that's really scary.
I don't know if I've ever had that before. I've had a couple of allergic reactions, but nothing quite like that. But that was, and I've taken that in the past and never had an issue. And now all of a sudden, seriously, my legs, my chest, my back, everything, every part of my skin was just completely red.
And scary.
Yeah, it was. So I took everything, and she's just like, if you can't breathe, let me know. I said, okay, fine. So I said, I'm just going to lay down. And I laid down and I fell asleep for about an hour or so. And 2 hours later, I get up and it was all gone. like amazingly, it was all gone. I was like, oh,
yeah,
man.
You're so lucky. You were so lucky. Yeah. When I was 17, it was a very weird year. I was by myself, lived with my parents. They were off at a softball game, and I was too big to be carting back and forth in the car. So I'm in a manual chair, and I got stung by a bee. I had a bee crawl in the back of my shirt, and I leaned back, and as its last desperate act,
was it floating like a butterfly?
It was after that.
Yeah.
In the back of my chair, and it certainly stung like a bee. And there's no cell phones. There's no way to get a hold of these people. It's 1988. And there's a good couple hours before anybody gets home. And I've never been stung. I have no idea what my reaction's going to be.
Right.
And so that was kind of like, is this getting worse? Is this getting better? What is it? No calling Child Protective Services. I was fine. Turns out I wasn't allergic. But what a way to find out. It wasn't like today where the cell phone is like, you might want to come home. I don't know what the hell happened.
It's messed up. We found out my brother was allergic to bees. We were kids, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 years old. We were at the fair. And a bee stung him at the fair because, cotton candy and everything. The bumblebees are everywhere.
Sure.
The yellow jet there. And so one of them stung him. And his arm just blew up. And so we went to the first aid tent. And again, this is probably in the 70s, early 80s. And they're like, yep, we got to take it. So they got the ambulance and they cleared people out of the way and they drove them to the hospital. And so
there's nothing better than being in public with an ambulance to come get you, huh?
So we go to the fair and he takes off in an ambulance. Luckily, my mother's like, well, I'll stay here with you. We'll finish out the fair. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm over there playing Space Invaders. Pew, pew, pew. And he's at the hospital.
There you go. We'll have fun.
Oh, too.
Speaking of that, and then we'll go on to the topic. I broke my back later that year in high school. After had too much fun at the prom. Not that kind of fun. And so, go to school that Monday morning, and my back kind of went snap, crackle, and pop. And so we know at this point I have to go. There's no getting around it. The pain isn't going anywhere. I've now laid down in a place where I can't get back in the chair. I'm being taken out of my high school in an ambulance. And so my lone request is, can we time this so it doesn't happen during class change? Because
right, yeah.
There's nothing worse than 500 or however big your high school was, all these people milling around as you're being hauled off in an ambulance. Because by the time that you get in the ambulance, they've got you dead. Mm-hmm. Or, the rumor, the telephone tree.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. You don't want to be seen.
You don't want to be seen like that. I mean, there are people that wanted to know that my parents talked to later that afternoon, but you don't want to be seen like that. What did Ron do? Ron down the whole thing of pills. No. It's not what happened. So, okay, yeah, I'll go. that's what the doctor wanted me to do. So I went, and parents were called, go meet your son at the hospital. And sure enough, it's pulling in and strapped me on the board when people are headed to first period.
Ding, ling, 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 ling. Everyone comes walking out, and there's Ron on the board, and everyone's looking at you.
There's Ron on a backboard.
Well, luckily, there were no cell phones back then, so no one could take pictures of you and put you on TikTok. Or
That's
anything,
true.
That's
true.
I think nowadays, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, at least we'd want the money to share.
I guess so.
If you're going to monetize my injuries, can I copyright that?
All right. All right, let's get on to the topic of the day, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so while I sit here drinking my coffee out of my Bobby Orr Appa coffee mug. Oh, my gosh, I love this thing.
It looks good.
It
now,
does.
I've switched over to my other screens for the last 5 minutes, so I haven't seen you, so you could have made all sorts of gestures and it wouldn't have been anything.
On Facebook, Keith, I think it was Keith was on there. On Facebook, let me just double check so I can get his name correctly. Keith Medeiros actually was making them, and he got approval from John from Appa to make these mugs, and he had the baseball one. So on one side, it's the back of the Appa card. It says Appa baseball. In my case, it says Appa hockey, and then on the other side, it's the actual card. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now, and it's 1969-70 Boston, Robert Gordon, Bobby Orr, and then it's got his card underneath it, the left wing,
That's
lefty,
awesome.
and then it's got his, his forecheck and his shot frequency. So, I sent him a picture of the card, and he made the mug for me, and so I got three of them. I got Bobby Orr, 69-70 Bruins. I got Tony Esposito, 70-71 Blackhawks, and then I got myself Dave Gardner on the 74-75 California Seals. Again, not me, but my namesake. And it's just, I got them sitting here next to some of my other mugs, and they're fun. So I'm using the Orr one, and the other two are kind of just my looking ones. But it was such a fun, neat idea that you can have your favorite Appa cards, hockey or baseball or football, whatever, and have a coffee mug on it, so you can play your game with your mug. So I'm drinking out of that right now in case Keith is listening. And if you're interested, again, just leave a comment. It's he's all over Facebook and all the Appa groups. He was posting pictures of it, and I did a video unboxing of my mugs anyway. So if you're interested, they are fun to have. They are really cool.
That's awesome.
Yep. So all right. So the topic of the day, Ron, go ahead.
All right, Swedish, not Swedish.
No. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Jeff23 on Discord asked, part of a two-part question. The one we're going to tackle today is, how do you balance the hours into your personal and professional lives, essentially to play games? So that's a great question, by the way. And so we thank him for that, because we've turned this into a show. So I don't know if he ever answered it, but we'll see. So I posted that, and we'll start with Discord first. Can Pesky Pole, who I think of because he's got 18,000 little ones running around and is a full-time high school teacher, so he's a good one to answer it. Multitask, he says. It's real easy in the computer and playing baseball. And I think that's pretty much what he does is our computer games. Mm-hmm. He's also the one, Dave, that does the drive-by-drive 2nd and 10. So he's figured out a way to do it.
Right, yeah.
Steeler fan says, I have two options. 1, don't play. 2, wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and play before the day starts. He does this pretty routinely. I suppose that's a good way to start the day, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Get up and do something fun, absolutely.
The house is quiet. He's down in Texas, which we've learned earlier in the show I can never mess with for the next month. Mm. But, in the summertime when it's cool, comfortable. I mean, that's a good time to do it when everything's just kind of still. Mm-hmm. David C. says, lately I've been playing late at night, after midnight and early morning before 7. The house is quiet and I can catch up on YouTube context and roll some dice. Again, when everyone else is sleeping and you're relaxed. I think that's a good time when you get really immersed in the games.
Early in the morning like that and late at night when everyone's in bed, so to speak, those are some really nice quiet times, not only for gaming, but for anything else, actually. It's just, you quote, almost have the house to yourself at that point. Everyone's in bed. There's a sense of satisfaction that everyone's safe in their bed at that point, and, whether it's early in the morning or late at night, it's everything's usually pretty quiet, unless you have the TV on or something like that. And it's kind of, I don't know if serene is the word. at all. But I mean,
that's a good word.
Yeah, it's just at that point there, it's like that's when I do some of my reading, if I'm reading the hockey news or one of the books that I have, or or playing games. But I mean, it's just really again, you don't have like trucks going by the house and airplanes going overhead, and people aren't in the hustle and the bustle of the day. It's like, so real early morning and real late at night. Those are both kind of very serene times. They're very quiet times.
I will, if I do card and dice type games, I do them when Sarah's not here. Not that Sarah's distracting or anything like that. But again, that serenity and extra peace of mind and clarity to concentrate on the task at hand, because not everything is automated. Computer games I can do whenever.
Yeah, you can be distracted.
Because they do all the heavy lifting, and if you get lost for a second, you can go back and see what you did. But when I do something that I actually have to keep track of, again, that serenity is there. And again, she's not a distraction by any way.
No, I hear what you're saying. Yep, I hear what you're saying.
But it's just, yeah.
You need more concentration on the cards and dice stuff.
Yes,
because you're doing everything, and so many times it's like, man, did I roll? Did I already log this in? Who's at bat? What did I do? We've all been there.
Yep. Tommy Ballgame says, I like to play early morning. Get up, shower, play in the lineups for the game in the shower. Some singing Taylor Swift. No, he didn't say Taylor Swift, but he does sing. And some playing the lineups, then eat. Being retired helps. Sometimes early morning doesn't work, and that's okay, because if a couple days pass and no game, that pause has me more ready for the next game. Yep. Anticipation. Build it up, and you enjoy the game. It should never feel like drudgery, for sure. Sweetest Jeff, who actually asked the question, gives a good response. A long one here, but since it's his question, I'll read it all. I work full-time Monday through Friday. I have my nights and weekends off usually. At the moment, I'm single. And he likes to mingle, as Dave would say. My ex-girlfriend and I broke up in January 22, and NGL, it really gutted me.
Not going to lie.
Not sure what.
Not going to lie.
Oh, not going to lie. Thank you. I'm using someone older to give me internet lingo. I feel like Casey Kasem here. We're going to play a song for the dog. I went into a depression, gained a lot of weight, tried dating again, and wasn't ready. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. So I decided to take a break from dating and focus on myself, making myself better. I started eating healthier and gradually started losing weight with the help of exercising 5 days a week. Since February 2022, I've lost 38 pounds, and I'm 16 pounds away from my goal. Good for you. Last year, he discovered digital dice, and it got him into playing games he hadn't played in years. So thank you for that. You're welcome. I especially enjoyed hanging out with Dave, Ron, and everyone else on New Year's Eve. Sure, I would have loved being with a beautiful woman, but apart from that, I can't think of better friends and people to hang out with, especially on New Year's Eve. Oh, you're very sweet. So I'm currently playing Diamond Mine Baseball, 76, 84, and 23. I'm trying to Phillies, but 84 doesn't fit in with that. Anyway, I will likely revisit OOTP and Franchise Hockey Manager. I'm also going to be revisiting APA and Strat. I try to play 4 to 5 days or nights a week unless I'm really tired or sick or have other plans. It really is a good way to pass the time. And I kind of equate playing these games to reading, because you're using the same thing. You're using your focus. It's keeping your mind off of things, whatever it is that you don't want to think about. You're engaging your brain, especially with the games that you're playing.
Yep.
And again, you're writing your own story.
Yep. You're using your mind. When you read a book, you're reading it and you're like, okay, the guy's driving down the street. You're envisioning the street, the car, what's going on around him. And it's the same with us. We, when you get that hit off the bat, in your mind, I mean, it could be going a million different directions, and so if you read, hey, it's going to be a ground ball to short, I'm thinking he's going to his left. You might be thinking he's going to his right.
Can be whatever it is. There's an interesting thing about when you're right about how much description should you put in, and I am of the belief that you as a listener or you as a reader should be making those decisions in your own head. Some of it you gotta provide, but I don't think that everything needs to be spoon fed to you. Just putting it out there. Adirondack Gus says, I usually play the majority of my games during weekday mornings and afternoons. It usually is the time of the day when family obligations aren't taking up my bandwidth. Wolfie says, Turbocharge, when I worked in corporate America a decade ago, on the days I went to the office, I often sat in a one-person closed-door enclave room designed for folks to work privately. One of the offices that had gone to no cubicles. I would have hated that personally. But everything open so you could see everyone else's business and seeing who's picking their nose and snoring. On those days, I had 2 laptops with me, my work computer and his personal MacBook. He had OOTP rolling on the MacBook. And in fact, he completed the majority of the 84 MLB season on OOTP in the office. Got a story about that, Wolfie. When I worked in an office with an open floor plan, I had a basketball game for the Mac. One of the rare games back in the 90s, especially for the Mac. And so, because I really didn't like where I worked, I won't say where. I haven't worked there in a long time. I played basketball games and had most of that season done. It was great.
I think the last basketball game I played on the computer was Bird versus Dr. J.
There's no graphics with this, so there was no noise. But it was great. Ron, how you doing? It's great. You know, Dominique just put 15 on me in a row. Anyway, nowadays, his health and medication-induced fatigue are the biggest speed bumps to playing as opposed to being busy. For card and dice, he'll roll up a game in either the evening or in the afternoon. PC can be any time, although evening seems to be when I remember to crank up a game or two. Again, I think it's the serenity and the coolness. The change in the temperature and stuff like that. That seems to be a thing with these, at least on Discord. One more, I think. Jam 920. It sounds like a AM dance station from the mid-'80s, right? Jam 920. 920! I usually play at night when everything is quiet and no distractions. My wife has to work really early, so she goes to bed. Daughter's off to college, so it's just me and the dog at night. She's not much of a talker, but likes to watch me play. I'm assuming he's talking about the dog. I think that's it for that. So some good responses there. Again, you tend to play at night. I'm usually,
Was there anything on the Facebook group?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Those are all Discord. Those are all Discord.
Yeah, okay.
I just happened to pop back so I can see you.
Yeah, I'll add mine at the end,
Okay, but it's kind of curious that there seems to be, I've read through the ones on Facebook, but I don't remember that being the common thing, but our Patreons really are in the cool and calm of whatever part of the day that they feel, whether it's early morning or night.
Right.
All right. So we'll read first names only here as we go to the Facebook. John says, prioritize games first than business, but I'm retired and there isn't a lot of business to worry about. David and Joseph say the same for them. Jen from Sports Sims Magazine says, we always find time for our hobbies. They're important. We never let work think it runs our lives. Hobby time is our best time to have joy in life again. So we give one another that time and it makes us better. Mark says, this is going to sound flippant. No, it doesn't. But I pretend I'm not really busy for a half hour or so. Luckily, there's nothing in my life that includes me having to perform emergency surgery. That's true. Glenn says, I've been very fortunate. For the first 20 plus years of my marriage, helpful if I can read, my wife, a NICU nurse, worked a night shift. And that way we always had someone home with the kids. My sister does that, by the way. She's not a NIC nurse, but made sure that when my niece and nephew were little, that someone was always home. I would try not to play when the kids were up or when she was home, but that still gave me plenty of time. Now the kids are out of the house. She's on days and I work from home. I get plenty of time to play without taking away from our time. Okay. Mo says, I don't. Real life comes first. Gaming is a luxury. Without real life, you'd be under a bridge and couldn't afford any games. Another David says, get up really early and have 2 or 3 hours before the wife wakes up. Fred says, I allot time at the end of the day. 8 to 10 at night, I usually roll games, not big on TV, and the wife has her hobbies as she does at the same time.
That's the way to do it.
Todd says, at the end of the day, for me, in the winter months when I have more free time, I tend to play games, football, basketball. In the summer, when I have less time, I stick to baseball. And Brian asks, and I guess this is a question to us, going along with this theme, how about when work makes you so tired, how do you get going even when you have the time? I'll let you answer that.
Okay. All right, so hang on a second here. Should I answer that first, or should I commentate on everything? What should I do here? Because it all
Why don't you answer that first? We don't have that many more to go, but
okay.
for
right,
answer
so
Brian's question.
When you're out of work and you're tired, how do you find?
No, when you work and you've worked a full day and you're tired, how do you get going even when you do have the time?
Yeah, okay, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you come home from work, you're exhausted from work, you got the time to do it. I tell you. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes,
right.
I got another crazy weekend coming up here, but was it 2 weekends ago when I was there 4 or 5 days in a row, and I was up at 6 o'clock every morning and going in and spending, 8-10 hours at the rink. I literally came home 2 of those days, showered, had dinner, and just kind of went to bed. And I never come downstairs to where I play my games. And I just did that for 2 or 3 straight days. I just was too tired. And the wife even joked about it. She goes, have you even been downstairs in 3 days? I'm like, no. I says, the place could be on fire down there, and I'd have no idea. So sometimes you're just too tired and there's nothing. Other times, I said, damn it, I'm going to play. And so I'll take a shower to wake up. And the shower does usually wake you up. You get a second wind. And you play something simple. And I was actually just talking to Al Red Sox fan today about this. I said, my go-to game when I'm tired is APBA baseball because it's an easy game. I don't really have to remember any crazy rules with APBA. It's probably the simplest baseball game that I have, and it plays fairly quick, so I can play something. I'm not digging through the rule book at the same time, and I'm not really expending a lot of my brain uses because I'm tired. And that's not a knock on APBA baseball by any means. It just means that game, the simplicity of the game, it's
perfect for that.
It's a perfect game for me when I'm really tired late at night and I'm like, something, I just, as much as I like Payoff Pitch and Season Ticket and some of the other games I play, I don't have those completely down, and I'm always kind of flicking through the rule book, and I don't want to do that when I'm really tired. I just want to play something fairly simple. So for me, it's either A, don't play, or B, play something super simple, or just pull out Strat Baseball and click away, or Action PC, and just sit back with your feet up and click, But as far as getting into and we talked about this, just a few minutes ago about the cards and dice, how you don't like to be distracted. Well, when you're tired, that's a distraction. Being tired is a distraction, and
it's huge.
It makes the games harder to play, and so I'm
you
very
never
limited.
To yourself,
yeah. So when I'm really tired, but I'm like, something, I'm going to play because I have to play something. I have a handful of games that are my go-to tired games that I know I can play and not really have to worry about a lot of thinking and digging in the rule books and am I playing it right. And so that's what I do is my gaming selection really kind of shrinks when I'm tired if I'm going to play.
Yep. All good points. John says, my morning is my designated time. It's how I start my day, whether in cards and dice or PC. Make a pot of coffee, sit down and knock out a couple games. If I have time, maybe once or twice a week, I'll knock out a couple more games before the wife gets home. Occasionally, I will stay up late on a Friday or Saturday night and play. The morning routine is really my go-to. If I oversleep, I don't feel quite myself all day if I don't get my cards and dice or PC fix. Rob says my wife works on Saturdays, so that's usually my gaming time. Stefan says, let me read this first. I'm at the end of, wow, Ron, first day with a new tongue. Very struggling time of scheduling things after a long break. My trick would be to put things on my regular calendar or pick a sheet of paper and pinpoint moments during the week I won't put any other time. So essentially, because I butchered reading it, he makes appointments for himself. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what I do 3 days a week at noon. Jeff says, I end up sending my games or portion of games in my Action PC Hockey Draft League instead of playing them out. Yep. That's the thing with the computer games is you can just kind of go through and take the time to enjoy the ones that you want instead of not.
Exactly. Yep.
Mike says, I don't. Kevin says, like several of the other gamers, I'm also retired, so it became easy to find the time. When I was working, I wish I had more time to play. It can lighten your mood when you're down or depressed about work. I think the way to go about it is just set aside a small hunk of time each week to get gaming in. Schedule maybe just a half hour or an hour here and there to not think about anything else but gaming. I know easier said than done. Even just 15 minutes. I mean, there's plenty of games in the market that you can get that in, get your mind off of something, get, a full, some meat on the bone. That's where, the fast drive football, fast hitting baseball, stone cold hockey, those things,
Right.
shootout hockey come in really well. Tony says it may be an unpopular opinion, but Baseball Maximum Strat has been fantastic for gaming while I'm busy. That's the whole point of the game. That's not an unpopular opinion. That's what it's for.
Exactly.
It plays even truer to the tabletop version of Strat now that they've added the cards and dice viewer to the app. Mm-hmm. Dave says, I'm very fortunate now as I work from home full time. After work, I can pretty much do whatever I want in terms of playing games, going to the gym, etc. However, any busy time is over by 7:30, 8 o'clock each night, so I'll wait. Mark says, I can't. If it's just too much going on, I got to work on that. Boots says, usually get up early, play a game or two, then maybe make a couple before bed. Stratomatic CPU baseball, so quick, 15, 20 minutes per game with no need to stack keep. Again, keep your mind off it, have the computer do the bookkeeping. Boots, by the way, is doing a complete Montreal Expos career replay.
Oh, nice.
His avatar is the Expos logo. Michael says half an hour slot before bedtime. And last but not least, SJ says I might only play half a game of one with two halves or a period of hockey or part of a baseball game or 3 holes of golf and then finish when things are calmer. And I guess that's the other thing I would add is if you got 15, 20 minutes, you don't need to finish. It's just get the time in and finish when you can and get excited about it, especially if you leave yourself on a cliffhanger. You got a birdie putt or you're going on the power play and you get called away. It just makes you want to return to that and you can relax. All right, I'll let you.
All right, so here's a couple of things that I've picked up on that. The first thing that I'll come up with the first thing that jumped out at me is that nobody here said that they took their games on vacation.
I've seen that a couple
Some
times
people,
over the
you'll
years.
see that. People say, I'm playing some app or some strat here on vacation. I'm wherever. And I know that's not what you go on vacation for. But, I mean, sometimes if you go away, especially for a week, you got some downtime somewhere. And you're sitting outside looking at the beach and everyone's, kind of chilling out. So you take it on vacation. So I'm surprised nobody said that they did that. But anyway, a lot of it seems to be, before work or after work. That's when
Serene
I play.
time.
Yeah, I
Serene
used to
time.
do that. I was doing that with Hockey Bones with my Bruins. 92, 93 replays. I'd get up in the morning and have my coffee and I'd play a period, maybe 2, but I couldn't get in the full game. Then I had to jump to work. Now I work at home most days. I'm at the rink, probably 30, 40% of the time, more than that lately. But I mean, there's a lot of computer work that I do, to get ready for these games and stats or whatever. My thing has always been, now I could do that because, I'm kind of my own boss over here, so I could sit and play all day and then do my work whenever. I'm the opposite, and I always have been. Get the work done first, eat your vegetables first, and then you can sit back and enjoy dessert or enjoy playing your games. Because I never, my anxiety is so bad that if I know I have work to do, I can't sit and enjoy a game, if that makes any sense. I like to know that my work is done, everything is done, all my obligations, whether it's work or around the house, the trash is out, the dog's fed, or, the snow has been shoveled. I like to know everything is done and settled before I sit down to play.
I mean, it is a game.
Yeah.
It is a hobby. I
Yeah.
mean, we're.
But just when it gives me a clear conscience. Okay.
Yes.
Now in the morning, okay, I have all these things I need to do. Oh my gosh, I gotta go here, I gotta do that. Car needs an inspection, and then you're thinking of all these things during the day. It's like, look, if I can just get these all done, and if I get them all done by like 2 or 3 o'clock, now I have a few hours to play at night. So for me, I need to get the work done first. So I'm a work first type of guy, and then if there's time after that, then I play. That's just me. But a lot of people like to play before work. I've tried it. It's okay, but I like to have the work done. Now, if I had to go to work, then maybe I would get up early and play some in the morning, and then go to the workplace. So
it's hard. I work from home, and this is what I do.
Maybe I do that. Although on days that I do go to the rink, like this weekend, when I get to be at the rink early, I won't get up early and play before I go. That's just
you have to be there. For the days you got to be at the rink, you got to be.
Yeah, but I could get up. I could get up at 4 and play for an hour before at 5 o'clock. I really need to do stuff, but for me, and that's I work better late at night. So for me, I don't do it before work. Usually it's after work.
I think for me, it depends on what am I going to be doing on a certain day. I mean, this is what I do. So. Okay.
Yeah, I heard something crash upstairs. I think it was a dog jumping off the couch.
Okay. For me, it depends on what I'm going to do on a given day. The wife works second shift, so I want to make sure in the morning I spend time with her. Mm-hmm. I stream usually 3 or 4 times during the week at lunch, and I do this. So, for instance, for the relaxing hobby part of what I do, I don't play anything that I stream because that's work. I mean, right. I play other baseball games, but I'm not playing action PC.
So you're working around the family here,
So I work around the family and the obligations to keep me sane. Generally, I will play. Sometimes I will play before I quote unquote work, or I see how I feel after dinner because she comes home, we eat, and she goes back to work. And again, I think it goes back to that serene, quiet time in the house where you can just kind of relax and you can be more involved. And there are other times, especially weekend mornings, if we're already home, where I'll pull out something to play for a couple hours just because she's content in doing what, we've spent some time together. She's content in what she's doing. You're at work. And it is there. So I think so quiet time, I think, seems to be the overriding, regardless of if you're retired or if you're, working a 45, 50-hour a week job. That seems to be how people do it. It's my time of the day. I got time to do X.
Yeah, I've kind of done all my obligations, and everyone's doing their thing. And I like the people that were saying that their wife has their own hobbies, so they don't feel guilty if she's off doing something. They can go do their thing, and everyone's kind of happy. And then that's kind of how it is over here for us over here. The wife will come home from work, we'll have dinner, we'll hang out, we'll watch some TV, and then she likes to go and watch her shows, or she likes to read a book, or whatever it is. And so that gives me my time to come downstairs and play my game. And she's the 9 to 5 right now, so she'll be in bed earlier than me, and so I can stay up late. Certain nights I can, unless I'm working. So there's a little bit of time there, but I work around, like I say, I'll during the day, sometimes I'll play if she's working or whatever. Now when she retires, we'll have a whole different, different system here.
Vibe, but you'll be working still, so.
Yes, I'll still be working, but she'll be home more, so I'll have to try to figure out how I'm going to work around that during the day, and she probably won't be going to bed so early at night anymore like she does now. So I'll have a whole different dynamic to figure out my gaming time. But yeah, the serene time, that's the time. Like, again, and it's the same for her with her hobby. If she's reading a book, you don't want to be disturbed. You don't want distractions.
Right.
She doesn't sit and read a book next to me while I'm watching TV. And I don't play a game while sitting next to her watching TV. You know what I mean? It's just, she likes to go and sit and be quiet and read her book. And you kind of need that concentration, like we do when we're playing our games. The other thing I thought was interesting, someone brought up was the weather, and maybe you think more times of the year, especially where we are. It gets in the winter, it gets dark really early, and so the joke about rolling up the sidewalks at 5:30 at night. In the summertime when it's light out till 8:30 and 9 at night, you got light coming in the windows. Everybody stays up later. Maybe you have people over. You think nothing of going out to dinner at 8 o'clock because it's still sun out. The sunshine's still outside. In the wintertime, it's 6 o'clock. You're like, are you kidding me? You're thinking about going out now? So you have a lot more time in the house in the wintertime, at least in this area. Because
so gray here, at least in my part of New England, that even during the daylight hours in Vermont, it doesn't mean it's sunny. We haven't had a lot of snow here in town, but it doesn't mean it's sunny.
Yeah, I find in the wintertime, even though it's my busy season, there's just way more hours that I spend in the house that I would do gaming with. Whereas, not that I'm an outdoor person by any means, but in the summer, it's like the dog wants to do more, so you spend more time out with that, and people have cookouts and things like that, and it's just, you stay out, till 8, 9, 10 at night, because you have all that light. So that comes into effect too. So the time of year, the weather and the whole bit, and again, the work schedule. For me, summer's a little slower, so I tend to have more time in the summer to play. But, the winter time is when I get busy. That's when I make the money to buy my seasons, so there's the trade-off, But yeah, so it's some really, really, really good answers.
I found those who were really pressed for time, that they would use a natural break to build some anticipation, so that whenever they got that 15, 20 minutes that they could play, that it was precious time because they knew it was coming. It was Gus that was talking about coming up with a lineup in the shower and all that.
Yeah.
That you take that time, and so when you get it you anticipate for it, and it makes it more special. I thought that was really clever.
Well, the other thing you can do is what I do a lot is, instead of playing games while I'm at work, like, some people are doing, when I like to just get the work done. Yeah, that's just me. If I know that, I have X amount I need to do, and if it takes me a half hour, an hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, I just want to get it done, and I don't want to stop in the middle and prolong it. I just want to get it done. Again,
right.
That's just my personality. But what you can do, like if I'm at the rink, and now I'm not home. Now I am at work, so to speak, and I ain't going anywhere. Right. You have some downtime at the rink, like anybody does at work. And maybe it's a little slow, or whatever. You're waiting for something to print or whatever. But that's when I do my planning. That's when I sit and I get a piece of scrap paper, and I'm like, okay, what seasons would I like to get? Why would I want to get this season? Let me research this season here, or this Hockey Bones is releasing a new season. Do I want to get it or not? Let me go find out who's playing that season and what I want to do. Or, maybe I'll watch someone else playing a season, like, boy, that's an interesting season. Maybe I should check that out. Or maybe there's a game that you don't have. It's, hey, there's 100 baseball games. Well, I don't have them all. So maybe I want to check out a new baseball game. So, I'll make some. So I do a lot of planning when I'm at work, as far as, what games I want to play, what products I want to do, what seasons, what teams, and the whole bit. So that's what I do, my planning. And then when I come home, I try to say, okay, look at all the stuff I wrote down. These are all the games I'd like to play, and that's when I go to play it. So there are some things you can do at work, as far as, that contribute to the, the hobby. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So thank you, Swedish Jeff, for that. That was a great question.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you so much. That was great. And that's why we rely on the people in our Discord and our Patreon people and our general listeners of the show, because that's what we do. We talk about the community is what we do. We like to talk about what's going on with you guys, and that was a question he had, and we got some good responses. And so, as always, we want to ask everyone else, what if you didn't respond to the question, respond here on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever. How do you find the time to play? What do you do? When's your gaming time? Do you work around work or people at the house, or do you have certain times? And I thought it was kind of neat. Some people said, look, I schedule certain times and that's it. And people know, don't bother me because this is my gaming time. And sometimes that's, it's like creating date night. You know what I mean? Who would ever thought that you'd have to create a date night? But we get busy in our lives, and you say, look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Block off this night. We're going to go out to dinner, or whatever, or the movies or whatever. So that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, it was fun to hear all the different ways that people do this and compare it to what we do. So anyway, that being said, should we do the 3 stars of the week?
Absolutely.
Okay. So in episode 215 here, we'd like to thank our 3rd star, Scott Loeffler.
Woohoo!
Scott, thank you so much for being a supporter of the Digital Dice podcast. Star number 2, more of a newer Patreon here, Keith Olinsky.
Yay!
Keith, thank you so much. I see him popping around all the time when we're doing our shows and our broadcasts, and so I see Keith come up, so thank you so much for supporting us here. And our number 1 this week is Jeff Mills.
Yay!
Jeff, thank you so much for being a part of this whole thing here and helping us keep this show going. All righty. So that was show 215. Where's my music? There it is. So you've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast. DigitalToDice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. DigitalToDice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And in episode 215, we talked about finding time to game. So let us know how you find the time to play our games here in the hobby.
Absolutely.
Ron, thanks for joining us again.
As always.
And we'll talk to everybody later.
Good night, Philadelphia. Go Giants. Bye-bye.
Ooh.
Detroit. 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 Detroit.